Good.
There you go. Yeah, before I turn it over, everybody, as you know, on our weekly webinar series, I collect everything. I'm going to have this slide deck. I'm going to have this recording. Everybody who registered for today's training, which guys, we're reaching into like 400 partners today over the 2 trainings that we're going to do today. Great attendance. So we know the interest is there. But everybody's going to get an email from me on Friday morning. It's going to have the whole kind of wrap up there. And Blake, I'm going to continue to work with our partners, driving them to the stores for next week. And hey, let's take it from there. All right, guys, there you
Perfect.
go. Mm-hmm.
Thanks a lot, Gary. First off, again, I want to thank you and the entire Snap One team for not only inviting us into your webinar series again, and I happened to check the first one that we did this morning, and it's several thousand views now. From the first series that we did. So thank you for being such a great partner to Lutron. And certainly, we just started shipping, even with all the, the headwinds that we face, worldwide with supply chain issues, and certainly with a worldwide pandemic. We were able to launch RA3 on time, and we started shipping product as we said we would on January 17th. So thank you for being part of that.
Yeah.
Again, I'll introduce myself. My name is Red Thomas. I've been with Lutron for a little over 20 years, all sides of our residential business, mostly sales. And currently I am the business director for our family of RA products. So I'd just like to take a second to ask Blake and Neil to introduce themselves also.
Yep. Yeah, my name is Blake Wills. I'm based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I manage our residential market down here, working with our direct dealers as well as all of our distribution accounts. And on top of that, I started with Lutron about 4.5 years ago in our experience centers in Plantation, Florida. Went up to New York and opened our residential center up in New York. Was there for 6 months prior to coming back down to Florida to join the sales team. So I used to actually be under Rhett Thomas, and now we're working together, launching products all over the country.
Thanks, Blake. Neil?
Yep. Thanks, Blake. Thanks, Rhett. I'm Neil Orchowski. You folks may have seen me. I've been around for a while too, coming up on 20 years here soon. But I've been working with the Snap team for many years now, really just as we've continued to strengthen the relationship that we have. And, that started with RA2 Select. Now, not just locals, but online through snap1.com. We have RA2 Select and Caseta, and now here we're talking about RadioRA3. So I am the product manager for RA3, and looking forward to continuing, in the future, working with everyone on this call, everyone in the Snap One universe, both locally and on a national presence. So thanks for joining us today.
All right, well, thank you, Neil and Blake. So we'll get started. So kind of how we'll work today is we have a short presentation. This is to give everyone on the call just an overview of RadioRA3. We have a lot of materials behind the scenes. We've got a dedicated microsite to RA3. And most importantly, we have dedicated self-service 24/7 training for RA3, which is highly important because you need to be able to complete the training to get the RA3 designer software. And we'll talk about that as we go through this presentation. But that's really the message we want to leave you with. We want to show you what RA3 is, what it can do, and then make sure you know where to go to get the tools you need to be successful, installing and programming RA3 for your clients. Okay, so with that, we'll take questions. Obviously, we'll be monitoring the question and answer box, and we'll probably pause in the middle of this if the past presentations we've done with Gary and his customers, you guys have a lot of questions, so we want to make sure that that's the most important thing, that we answer those. So we'll pause kind of in the middle. We'll take a look at the Q&A box. We'll start answering them. And again, we're going to be respectful of your time. So we like to start on time and end on time. So we'll make sure we're done at 10. And if we can, we'll hang around a little bit if there's any more questions. Okay, so I'll get started here and I'll pass it over to Neil in a little bit. So I think we've all seen this. I think probably we have now 76 participants that I can see. I think we all agree that the home is more important than ever. If you're in any sector of the residential technology or AV integration business, the last 2.5, we're going into the 3rd year of the pandemic. I know that I've done this. I see everything in my house that is a problem, and I want to go fix it. So there's more reasons than ever for you guys to be inside homes and sell your goods and services. Whether people are working from home, they don't like their current setup of their entertainment system. They're doing staycations, right? As the pandemic continues, people are just taking time off and staying in their own place. They're doing remodelings, they're doing their basements, they want a secure home. I mean, you can go on and on and on. The point is, there has never been a better time to re-engage your customers on what is their lighting control strategy for their home. And look at us, we just come out with the brand new next generation of RadioRA, obviously RadioRA 3. Next. So just to kind of take us into the Wayback Machine, for those of you that have been doing this for a little while, it's important to note that Lutron did create the category of wireless home lighting control. So rewind back to 1997, Lutron patented the first, two-way RF communication lighting control system, the original RadioRA, and that flagship home system has generated wealth for the installers across the United States, North America, and frankly the world, our distribution partners, and certainly for Lutron. It was a very, very successful product. So now fast forward to 2009, we come out with RadioRA 2. Now we're taking that great, robust, bulletproof two-way RF communication and home lighting control system, and now we're making it a true overall lighting control system. So you control lights, obviously control shades and temperature control, right? That's RadioRA 2. Next.
Now,
Uh-oh.
great video to really tee up really what's coming next.
There we go. So now introduce RadioRA 3.
Introducing RadioRA 3 from Lutron. Redesigned from the inside out to delight clients and streamline projects. This new system is easier to program, install, and integrate with other systems. Presenting a contemporary light bar design in a full range of RF-connected controls. The soft glow makes it easy to find controls at night. Light bar brightness can be adjusted or turned off. Enjoy superior dimming of all popular load types. Create scenes that transform a room with lights, shades, music, and more. Personalize the keypad with text or icons. Available in a new range of colors to complement any decor. The Lutron app lets clients easily adjust schedules and scenes for added comfort and peace of mind. The new all-in-one processor makes programming and installation a breeze. With power over Ethernet, it's easy to install in a central location for optimal RF coverage. No nearby power receptacle required. RadioRA 3 is backwards compatible with most RadioRA 2 devices. The new Lutron Leap API makes integration with other systems as easy as ever. RadioRA 3 is the most integrated, dedicated lighting control system in its class. With new remote service features, quickly make post-installation system changes on the go via the PC tool or Lutron app. With RadioRA 3, we set out to combine beautiful controls with a powerful and simple system that will exceed expectations for both you and your clients. And we did it with the same quality and reliability that Lutron has delivered for almost 60 years.
Whoop.
It's why Lutron is the #1 lighting control and motorized shading brand among home technology professionals. And it's why you can count on RadioRA 3.
Perfect. So thank you, for playing that, Neil. And again, I want to, it was a big undertaking. Lutron's no longer a small company, but nor are we, gigantic, Amazon-sized entity. I'm very proud of our organization for being able to work through our engineering teams, our operations teams, not only to work through the pandemic and a global supply chain shortage to launch RA3, but to launch it on time. And again, I want to thank Gary, his organization, for supporting us by stocking RA3 for you. They're incredibly important partners for us in that regard. So, what is RadioRA3? It's to delight your clients and to streamline your projects. So we're going to talk about that a little bit in the next couple slides. How are we going to do that? So again, RadioRA3, it's designed to delight your customers. So it's, as you can see, it's a very streamlined and beautiful lighting control product from the aesthetic standpoint. It's got that unique light bar design. You kind of just swipe up and swipe down to set the lights. It does respond. It has capacitive touch technology, so it just responds to your touch. And as you're going to see with more communications over the upcoming weeks and months, we have a new expanded color palette of a whole new range of, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later in the presentation, whole new range of satin finishes for our RadioRA3 line. And as you would expect from one of our lighting control products, extremely customizable. So we've updated the whole experience of how you would engrave the keypads and so forth. So that's a new and streamlined. You do it right through the designer software that you would get once you complete the RadioRA3 training. Next. So also helps you streamline your projects. One of the really cool things, to help you save time, right? One of the really cool things is our new RA3 processor. So it is power over Ethernet. So you can just order the processor and put it in, connect it to a network switch with Cat5 or Cat6 cable or whatever. But we also have, you can order a kit that has a PoE injector in it. So you kind of would plug it into the wall, right? And then plug the Cat5 or Cat6 cable into the injector. If you can't run the cable all over the home, you can just plug it right into the wall and do it that way. So we have new quick find technology that allows you to find the RA3 processor very quickly and easily on the local network. You can have up to 200 devices using our Clear Connect RF technology. And again, I want to stress, RadioRA3 is backwards compatible with almost all RadioRA2 and RadioRA2 Select products, with the exception of some wall box power modules. And what's the other one, Neil?
Graphic Tee wall box.
Graphic Tee. Yeah. And then the Graphic Tee. So, but everything else good to go. And with the newest software revision, and for those of you that have taken the training and might have the designer software already, we're at 21.7. And in 21.7, we have introduced the capability to take your RA2 data file from an existing RA2 project, open it up in Designer, and it will RA3 Designer, and it will automatically update the programming and that data file to a RA3 data file. So if you wanted to upgrade the system and put a RA3 processor in there, we've made that super easy. It's almost one button click, okay? So very simpler, much simpler to program via the designer software. So we're moving all of our programming, we're migrating it onto that designer platform, which will make it easier for us to maintain, and frankly, will make it a lot more streamlined for us to add capabilities as time goes forward. So you can, even though it's PC-based programming at this point, you do have app activation. So you can use the app to activate as you're actually walking around the home. To get the system started up, you can use the app to activate. And again, we have built into the designer software that keypad engraving and customization. So I wish I could see a show of hands. Oh, there is a raise hand thing. A show of hands of how many installers over the years on this webinar have had to send in yellow certificates to Lutron for engraving. Okay, it's 2022, and we finally overcome that. That engraving process is done through the designer software. Okay, and we also offer remote service capability. In addition, we have streamlined integration through our Leap API too. So maybe go to the next slide. And as you would expect, I'm not going to read through all these, but because obviously you are in the AV integration business, you would expect Lutron to seamlessly integrate with other leading brands. And as you can see, whether it's Amazon and Alexa, Crestron, Savant, Sonos, Alarm.com, C4, RTI, Google Assistant, we're trying to keep all of your bases covered. And again, this is seamless integration through our new Leap API. Okay. And I'm going to turn it over to Neil, but I maybe would like to take a pause here. And if you're okay with that, Neil, we'll just open up the question box here and see. Oh, looks like Blake's already. Blake, do you maybe want to drive here and we can answer some of these questions?
Yeah, I got the question box open now. So
Yep.
Looks like there was a question about the event next week, the Rockville, Maryland location. That branch is not going to be open in time, so we'll look at scheduling another date for that branch just a little bit later on. So just wanted to make sure that got answered. Next, we have Rhett, will there be a 6-button keypad, and is there a hybrid keypad option available today?
So Neil, go ahead. This is right. This is near and dear to Neil's heart. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can take that one. So 2 things. One, on the hybrid keypad in the new Sunata version that you saw some pictures of here, that is a coming soon product. I can tell you that it is actually in development. I was just texting some engineers saying, hey, sorry, I'm on a webinar right now. Can't do this design review with you, but it is in flight and it's coming soon because that's going to be a great adder to the Sunata offering. But beyond that, just something that you'll hear me talk about in a little bit as well is because the majority, almost all of the RadioRA 2 devices, which includes Maestro dimmers, it includes C-Touch keypads and C-Touch hybrids. What you were doing before, if anybody was installing RA 2, before RA 3, you can pretty much do the same thing now with RA 3. So if you wanted a 6-button keypad, for example, which I see is in one of the questions, you can still get that with C-Touch. With Sunata, it starts with a 4-button, includes a 3-button with raise lower and 2-button, and now a hybrid's coming as well. So more to fill out the line, but also we have that really broad offering that RA 2 has already that will also work with RA 3.
Great, thanks, Neil. Next question, is the new processor does it have both the processor and the bridge built into one? And the answer to that is correct. Yes, it is the processor and the bridge all in one, power over Ethernet. And with the quick find technology makes it very, very simple.
Correct. All in one. It's not 2 separate products. So there's money savings there. It's all bundled into the RA 3 processor.
Next question, is OVC in the controller?
Yeah, oversee. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can take that one. So right now, the Lutron and oversee integration is specific to the RA 2 Select main repeater that is uniquely available only through the Snap One organization. Oversee within RA 3 is certainly on the table. With what's shipping today, it is not included. So I would just say just sit tight there and see what we have coming in the future.
Great. All right, is the Lutron Designer software an app as well? No, that is a computer-based software program. You will be able to edit the customer's scenes remotely via the app, but that software is computer-based.
Correct, and you can also obviously startup is now done via the app too, as you're actually starting up the job and walking the home.
Yep, that's right. Lutron Designer's the PC tool. The Lutron app is the app, so pretty easy.
Yep. Is there any chance there might be a RA 3 Maestro allowing color change? Yes, I understand RA 2 products are compatible. Obviously, the current Maestro requires repeaters versus the RA 3 processor. When will the hybrid come? And can we assume it has pro dimming technology?
That's a good question.
Great question. So one way to think about this is the RA 2 Maestro and the RA 2 C-Touch is also the RA 3 Maestro and RA 3 C-Touch. what's great about this system and what the processor, the RadioRA3 processor provides is a way to communicate with all Lutron Clear Connect devices that are supported in RA2, as well as the new ones supported in RA3. And while there may be some differences between them, from a system perspective, it all works the same. So those exact same Maestros that you're using before work with RA3. That includes the color change kits that would work with those Maestros and C-Touch. It's all the same, and it all works with RA3.
Is the HVAC controller going to be compatible?
No, the HVAC controller is not compatible with RadioRA3, and that's something that really just some insider information here is that's basically getting towards an end of life product offering for us, the HVAC controller. And so with RadioRA3, the temperature control solutions are the Wi-Fi thermostat that Lutron also sells, as long as a bunch of different Wi-Fi thermostats that would integrate with the RadioRA3 system.
Yeah, that's correct. Blake, I'll take these next two because they're very interrelated. Okay,
Yep.
So the next two questions are: when and where are the RA3 trainings being done? And where do you download the Lutron Designer software? Okay, two very, very good questions. We're doing something different. Okay, so again, those of you that have been selling and installing Lutron for a while on this call, you're used to doing an L1 or an L, in territory, a RA2 level 1 training and getting your RA Essential software, and then going to L2 training and getting inclusive software. Okay, we've tried to, again, streamline and make that process a lot more simpler. There's now one training for RA3, one. And it is self-service. It lives on the LCI, so you would need to have a Lutron Lighting Control Institute login, which I would think most of you would have on this call. And you would go to the RA3 learning plan. You can get there by going to the LCI. Neil, we have a slide on that towards the end of the presentation. We have a RA3 microsite that links directly to the training plan. And there's a series of modules. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to complete, but it's start and stop. You can, the technology's in there. If you want to do a couple modules in the morning, go to a job site, knock out what you need to do, and then before dinner, knock out a couple other modules. The system remembers where you're at. So once you complete those modules, then there's an exam. Once you take that exam, gone are the days of like calling customer service and saying, where's my RA software? Once you take that exam and complete it with an 80 or above, the RA3 designer software will automatically, you will be prompted to automatically download that onto your computer. So it's a seamless process from start to finish. It doesn't require phone calls, emails, or anything like that, and it's learn at your own pace. So that's how we're handling training. And so far we have had several thousand, I want to say we're up to like 3,000 now, several thousand people complete training at this point. So it's been successful, and we've had very, very, very few hiccups in that process. So very, very good question. All right, go ahead, Blake.
Yep. All right. So will there be external repeaters?
So 2 ways to answer that question. The same repeaters that work with RA2 and RA2 Select also work with RA3. So those would be what you would use if you needed to extend the range beyond the RadioRA3 processor to devices like Maestro and C-Touch and Shades and Picos. Works exactly the same way. The exact same products and exact same repeaters work with RA3. With the new Sunata devices, repeaters actually are not needed. The way that we've improved the Clear Connect technology within Sunata specifically uses an update to the Clear Connect methodology, where really all you have to do is make sure that each Sunata device is within 25 feet of 2 additional compatible Sunata devices or the processor, and you can grow the range within the home that way. So up to 75 feet from that main processor. And if you do the math, that's roughly like a 10,000 square foot home that you could cover by centrally locating that processor. So in that world, you don't really need a repeater. It's really just making sure you place additional dimmers, switches, keypads throughout the home to extend that range and get the right coverage that you need.
Yeah, and just to dovetail on Neil's answer, these, like some of these questions here are relatively technical. And we are happy to answer them, but I don't expect everyone to remember it. But what's great about these questions is this is all covered in the training. Like we go over the new rules for the Sunata devices, like how the spacing that needs to be there, and how much distance between the dimmers and the processor, that versus the Maestro or C-Touch style components of RA2. So yes, it's different. You have to kind of learn a kind of another little rule set, but all that's available on the LCI, and you can refresh your knowledge at any point. You keep going back to the modules, looking at them, listening to them. It's all there.
Yeah, guys, I'd like to interject too, because I am a new qualified RA3 person, if you will. No, guys, you're right. Rhett, it's not only just each module really being in detail and talking about actually the feature sets, but you're programming a house. Takes you through there, and you're adopting those distances within the programming of this module. So it's really cool at the end. And I really felt that invested, and the takeaway was a very direct, concentrated way about going about this. Listen, guys, I've been working with Lutron trainings live in our locations for 8-9 years, and my takeaway from this was it's very focused. And you really come away knowing and a very focused agenda in the training. So great job on that. This is the way that we're going to take this, and I'll work with Blake continuously throughout the year on having events and having the representation in our Snap One locations. There's no way that you're not going to be covered. As soon as you get a job or something that you want to move into, they're going to ask you 2-3 times during the year. You want to have a crack at this lighting gig, and that's exactly where we want you, and we're going to continue to help you grow this way. So the modules are fantastic. I completely advocate that. I'm going to completely support driving everybody and being qualified. Having the My Lutron account is a benefit on a number of different areas. So as your training coordinator here at Snap One, I'm going to continue to work with you folks on getting everybody through this stuff. So
that's
great job, guys. Thank you, guys.
Yep,
absolutely. All right, to just go through a couple of these. I haven't tried it on a Mac yet, but is the software good to go on the Mac, Rhett?
I can take that. Yeah, so the native Mac support is something that across Lutron PC tools we do not offer, but I think what I see folks do is use those tools within a virtual environment within a Mac to get it to work. So most of the same tricks to use Lutron tools on Mac machines would still work.
Great. Right. Does the new processor use the same network communication protocols from RA2, multicast, etc.?
Great question. So what Rhett teed up earlier on that one slide about the processor was something we called quick find technology. And so really what it means is you can quickly find the RA3 system on a customer's home network. And without getting into the details, there's a lot of improvements on there that built upon, I think, what we knew had opportunities for improvement in RA2. And so things like multicast and other network technologies that can make it a little bit more complicated in a home, we've been improving that and removing things that make sense. So I'll keep the answer short, which is that the networking technology is different and much improved over what you'd have seen in the past, and it's going to just keep getting better. Really aimed at making it as easy as possible to get these systems found on a network and set up as quickly as possible.
All right. If you've passed a RA3 training but don't have RA2 programming software, will you have access to RA2 after passing RA3? No, you will not, but you can actually go online and take the RA2 training online now as well if you need that software.
That's right. And
correct.
On Lutron's LCI, or Lutron Customer Institute, all of the trainings for RA2 and RA3 are now there. And we've actually now added an online learning plan for the RadioRA 2 inclusive aspect of the software, which previously was an instructor-led in-person multiple day event. Now that RA3 is now live, that RA2 inclusive training is still available, and we made it a lot easier to get access to it for any of those jobs that you still need inclusive access for supporting existing customers. It's all there. A lot of the great improvements that we've added to make software access immediate and automatic after passing those exams is also being rolled in there. So a lot of great things, making it easier for you to onboard and learn about RadioRA solutions.
Yep. So if you want to deploy, bottom line, if you want to deploy a RA2 system, you're still going to need that software, just a RA2 system.
That's right.
Yep. Will there be a Sunata style ceiling fan control switch in the future?
Good question. I see another, there's another question about what is Sunata. So Sunata is the new aesthetic offering, which you saw in a bunch of the slides before. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper. It's really a common look across a new, family of products from Lutron. So the family today includes a dimmer, a switch, and a keypad. And we're listening at what should be next in that lineup. So, we're not, working on, we're working on what the next things would be. We're not yet communicating what it would be, but naturally the derivatives that have been raised up in terms of asks from our customers are a fan control, which does not exist yet for Sunata. We've also even heard some requests for 0 to 10 volt control through the Sunata aesthetic as well. So stay tuned. We're going to listen and see what makes sense and what makes sense to do first. And I think maybe, I don't know what you folks think, might be a good time to get back into some of the slides, because I think some of the questions you still see there we'll be answering as we go through it. Sound fair?
Agreed.
Perfect.
Great. So I'll take things, for the next few slides here to dive a little bit deeper. But first start with, at a high level, a little bit more of an overview of Lutron and the systems that we offer for lighting control. So whether you're, you've been in the business for a while with lighting control, you've been a RA2 Select installer already, or if you're just getting started, really what we want you to know is that there are solutions for every type of home and really every type of installer that is getting into the business of smart lighting control. So with Lutron, it really starts with our Caseta offering, which is broadly available throughout the Snap, universe, both local and online. It's an easy entry to smart home. It includes, the essentials for lighting control: dimmers, switches. It has our great Pico remotes, which makes it easy to add lighting control and anywhere on the wall without having to cut into drywall and pull new wires. It's a 10-year battery life device, that starts in Caseta as that essential element to make adding and retrofitting lighting control into a home as simple as possible. And with Caseta, it's includes all the great integrations that you would want to include to deliver a better experience around the home. The next level up from there is our RA2 Select offering. It's what we call more of a pro grade solution. It has a broader set of devices, different aesthetics, more coverage in a home. You can serve, bigger homes, more complicated projects with RA2 Select, but it includes the same simplicity in terms of setup that is offered with Caseta. So really, when you're thinking between Caseta and RA2 Select, it's all app-based setup. The difference there is who is the customer, who's the client, what's their budget, getting started easily, with Caseta for price points that, are around $60 per dimmer versus, when you get into a RA2 Select system, it's roughly going to be double the price, but you have a lot more features and functionality that come with it with the same ease of setup. So RA2 Select still very relevant in today's world, even with the introduction of RadioRA3, which is a more customizable system. We say it's for qualified installers because there's so much there, so much you can do with it. We require qualification training that we've talked a little bit about here, but give you all of the tools that you can harness to make RA3 an extremely differentiated system within the home that can be customized for whatever that customer wants and needs. So a very broad offering now with multiple aesthetics that can go on the wall, that can pretty much serve any home that's out there. Once you get beyond RA3, that's where Lutron's Homeworks system falls in. This is for us like the very tip of the pyramid in terms of who it's for, who the customers are, and really a lot of qualification training that goes into this. So for the most part, where you want to live is in between Caseta and RadioRA3, and you can serve the vast range of customer types that are out there. But if Homeworks is something that you're interested in building your business into, that's where, working with our local sales teams is the right way to, kickstart that and discuss, what might be right for your business and your customer base. Whoa, went too fast. So here it is, a quick recap of the new Sunata RF family of products. You can see we really designed this from the outside in for everything to have a common look, a common kind of aesthetic DNA on the wall, starting with the new Sunata dimmer on the left with an innovative capacitive touch light bar for dimming up and dimming down, but with a very familiar feel of that rocker switch, so customers can easily walk up to it and know what to do to dim their lights. That comes with a coordinated switch, and then 3 different keypad varieties, a 2-button, 3-button with raised lower, and 4-button, to customize and really create personalized scenes within the home that can be, labeled with text or with buttons to match whatever unique experience you're delivering in that project. Here's a quick look at the colors. I think this is really exciting, in terms of being able to meet the wants and needs of your clients within their renovation projects. Often lighting control is, part of a bigger project, whether it's, a new home construction, a kitchen renovation, adding on, new space to the home. Typically, there's more work being done, and there's always choices being made in terms of what the finishes and the colors, things like paint, backsplashes, countertops. And now with this new palette of colors, which really hits the mark in terms of what's out there from a contemporary perspective of hot colors that are in. We have this new palette that works great with common interior design trends. I'll highlight a few. We have not just 1, but now I guess 4, technically 5 different whites. We have a gloss white, but we also have brilliant white, glacier white, snow white already existed, and now we have architectural white as well. So there's 4 different whites to really again get to a crisp look on the wall, to use those white colors to match a lot of the white trends that are going around interior renovation. Grays, neutral tones. Personally, I like the deep sea color there, where if you see that with the light bar lit up, it just looks really cool on the wall. And we've seen a lot of excitement around it. So these colors, there's 24 of them now in total, are all available for order. So work with your customers on, matching whatever color they want. And you're going to find really in distribution, within the Snap team is where you're going to find the higher running colors, but know that all the rest of them are also available as well. And we are shipping them. All right, a little deeper dive into the dimmer and switch within Sunata. So the dimmer itself includes what we call our Pro LED Plus technology. We introduced this into the Maestro family a couple of years ago, and really it's been, become the go-to dimming technology that Lutron offers. Why? Because it works, with the broadest range of LED light sources that are out there. It includes forward and reverse phase dimming, which allows you to select the best type of dimming control for whatever LED is there. And it really provides just a go-to solution for whatever lighting you have within the home. The companions look exactly the same as the main dimmer and the main switch. So you can have up to 5 locations within the home, within a room, that look exactly the same on the wall. When you swipe up on the dimmer, you'll see those light bars raise up in unison on every location in the room. It's just really cool, and really what customers would expect. And another thing that customers expect is having that light bar brightness match what they want for the room. In a kitchen, you may want it to be nice and bright so you can see what's going on in that kitchen. But in a bedroom, at at bedtime, you may not want a lot of ambient light coming and glowing from the controls on the wall. And so we allow you through the system to adjust that light bar brightness to really match what that homeowner's looking for. So dimmer, companion dimmer switch, companion switch, all of them available through Snap today. The keypads. A great new look on the wall that includes the same benefits that Lutron customizable keypads have included in the past. So control of lights, of shades, build it into automation. You could have the lights dimming down, the shades lowering to reduce glare, and music starting to play when you select a dining scene, for example. So this is really where, you know, it transforms the customer experience, and it's through the keypad to kick it off. As Rhett mentioned earlier, each of these keypads are personalizable. For RadioRA3, each keypad includes one free personalized button kit that you then redeem through the software. But if you want to order more, of course, they're always available to keep customizing these things into the future. All right, another exciting part is the processor. Just to kind of double click into a few more things here. I think Power over Ethernet is incredibly powerful. You know, not just if you use PoE enabled network switches, but you know, really so that you can place the processor where you want it in the home and only have to worry about pulling a Cat5 or Cat6 cable. You'll see at the bottom there are two main kits that we sell. The top one, the processor kit, includes everything you need to set up that processor. It has a shelf mount for, you know, easily placing it wherever on a shelf. You know, you can screw it to the wall, kind of like the quickest way to install this processor. But it also includes a PoE injector in the box. So if you don't have PoE built into your network, you know, we have a power supply that outputs PoE directly there and makes it just as easy as using, you know, a simple plug-in power supply from before. But again, the difference is you don't have to worry about where that 120 volt outlet is in relationship to the processor. You put the processor where it wants and just pull as long of an Ethernet cord as you need. It does include the functionality of the main repeater and the connect bridge in one. That's why you may see us refer to it as the all-in-one processor, which is great because, you know, it's one piece. But if you look at the price points and you compare to, you know, in RadioRA 2, you're getting closer to, you know, $900 for a connect bridge and a main repeater. Now everything's all in one, and the list prices are near $500. So it's a savings and provides a lot more benefit and value within one device. You know, on top of that, quick find technology, you know, the integrations are easier than ever. You know, we've worked a lot with, you know, other what we call alliances within the industry to make sure that, you know, Lutron systems integrate incredibly easy with them. So it appears native, right? And I'm sure those of you that integrate with other brands today, in the past, you had to do a lot more custom work to integrate the devices, map the Lutron devices to a device in the third-party platform. Now, all that automatically gets imported into the third-party control system that you're using. And we work with the biggest and the best brands to make it, you know, very streamlined and quick to just pull in the devices, the area names, and start programming to them just like you would a native device in that control system. So very powerful. You know, not to mention the remote service, which might be the biggest thing for you, remotely servicing these RadioRA 3 systems from anywhere via our cloud services, which link directly to that Lutron Designer PC tool and also the app. So for example, if a customer called and said, hey, I really wish my keypad did this differently. Well, in the past, you may have had to go on site, plug in your laptop, connect to the network, you know, connect to the system, make your changes, transfer them locally while on site to that, you know, call it RA2 system. Well, now you can do that exact same thing from anywhere in the world with that processor. Have them on the phone, say, sure, I can change what that keypad does or add more devices to that keypad. Let me make the changes, transfer it from here, and within minutes, it's done. So, you know, really puts all the power of programming changes in your hands remotely, on top of what the quick changes can be made from the Lutron app as well. So a lot of great things for you to dig into. And again, please dive into the training modules that are available to learn a lot more about all the new powerful and exciting tools that we have available for you with RadioRA 3. A hot topic, which is I'm excited to announce that RA2 to RA3 easy upgrades is now available in the latest version of the Lutron Designer tool. So what that means is if you have an existing customer with RadioRA 2 in the home, you would start by one, finding the file for the RadioRA 2 system. You can either extract it locally on site, or you might have it saved already to your laptop. And what you're going to do is remove that RadioRA 2 main repeater and connect bridge, replace them with the RadioRA 3 wireless processor, open that RadioRA 2 program file within the Lutron Designer software, and it automatically converts the programming that you had before. It'll tell you, you know, there's some subtleties for things that do not move forward into RadioRA 3. Rhett mentioned the three of them, but just to review, it's the wall box power module, which is a bank of 6 dimmers in one. It's the graphic T aesthetic, which is not now part of RadioRA3. And it's also the legacy temperature controls that operated on Lutron's Clear Connect network. Only those three things are the hardware, the products that won't convert. Every other product converts, makes it very easy to upgrade projects. And you'll note on this slide, it does include those auxiliary repeaters, which are really needed for the C-Touch and Maestro, plug-in dimmers, Pico, etc. That family is what uses those repeaters. So very easy, available in 21.7, which hit the web, I believe, on Friday and is now available for download. All right, a few more things here until we get back to questions. We've talked a lot about the Lutron Designer software. This is where every project should start. It's your key to getting started with customizing keypads. It's all done through the Designer software. It's connected to our cloud services. So when you customize a keypad for a customer, basically those details are already waiting on our manufacturing line, waiting for you to say submit so that we can start building that keypad for you. So it makes it a lot easier and faster to customize keypads. I talked a lot about remote servicing, big feature for you to dig into. And of course, the Lutron app, this is the same app that we use now for Caseta, for RA2 Select, and now RadioRA3. It supports multiple homes, so your homeowners could have, their main home, let's say on RadioRA3, they could have their vacation homes on Caseta or RA2 Select, and it all integrates up under one app, one account, nice and easy. And of course, you as the installer will have, the ability to get remote access while you're on the go and could make tweaks for their system directly from your app as well. Another piece here that you'll see when you get into training is that now some of the activation of Lutron RA3 devices is driven through the app. What that means is you don't have to now carry a laptop around the house to activate devices. The devices that need to be activated for the new Sunata controls more or less gets downloaded into the app, and the app tells you, here, walk around, find these controls, push a button to activate them into the system, and then that automatically links back up to the processor and the PC tool to synchronize everything and then get the system up and running. An important thing to know, and I don't know if we have any questions on this yet, local Wi-Fi and local internet is not required to commission a system. It may provide you a more efficient and better work process if you're able to use those tools, so everything's synced through the cloud, but it's not required. We offer ways to install everything locally without internet, without Wi-Fi, just like you would have today with RA2. And it provides you, flexibility for how you prefer to run your projects, whether new construction or retrofit, whether there's Wi-Fi there or there's not. Soon, I think, we did not want to launch RadioRA3 and announce it without saying that these things were coming because they're so important to the line. We do have an outdoor rated plug-in switch, which is great for those spring cleanup projects that I'm sure you're all going to be running into here in the next few months. We have not announced a ship date on that yet, but stay tuned. It is coming soon. The hybrid keypad within the Sunata line is also coming soon. Both of those two things are in development. And a big one here is RadioRA2 supported up to 2 processors in the system. Right now, RadioRA3 supports 1. It can do up to a total of 200 devices across Maestro, C-Touch, and the new Sunata. But we are adding a second processor, which really allows you to better upgrade those existing RadioRA2 systems to a RA3 system, which would have 2 processors. So sit tight on those. All 3 of these are in the hopper, coming soon. And we will update you with dates as soon as we are locked in and loaded and have a confident date that we can give you. Now kind of transitioning away from product a little bit, but more into the resources that can help you. I really encourage that you visit radiora3.lutron.com. This is your site to get really all the information and details that you may not find working with your local distributor or with the Snap team. This includes a web experience unlike anything else you've seen probably from Lutron in a while. Direct links to support content, marketing development resources. There's even you'll see at the top right corner there, a web page, a link that you can deliver to your homeowners so they can then scroll through this, and it works more or less as a digital brochure to see what they're getting if they buy into RadioRA3. So a lot of great content there for you. We wanted to make it such that you get everything you need there. But of course, if you need to call Lutron customer service or tech support, we're here for you as well, 24/7. We've talked about this online training. Please, if you have not started training yet, go there today. You can get links to the training direct from that RadioRA3.lutron.com website that I mentioned. This is, train at your own pace, at your own speed. It's very modularized, so you can, start training, one day, do a module or two, pick it up the next day, and finish whenever you want. The great part is, as soon as you're done with training, you'll automatically get access to the RadioRA3 setup tools within Lutron Designer. Make sure the email address that you're using to go through the training is the same email address that you use to log into your Lutron tools. If you don't, then you're gonna not get that automatic access. But if you use the same email address, it's just gonna work. It's gonna click, and you'll have immediate access to RA3 once you complete training. A question I saw in the chat there was, what about before we had essentials level of training, then we had inclusive level within RA2. With RadioRA3, there is just one level of training. We've tried to simplify this system such that you only need one level of training. It's all here online. This is the common source of truth. And this is where you're going to find all of the updates that are going to be coming in the future. Pretty much every month, you're going to be seeing something new from Lutron, whether it's new hardware that I talked about or new software features and capabilities built onto this platform that continue to deliver more value for you for the years to come. So stay tuned. Make sure you're signed up for the emails to get the latest information, and expect it to be coming at a fast pace, probably more frequently than you've been used to from Lutron in the past. Lastly, again, some more links for you to see with where to get, I guess you can't really click here on training, but to the website, you'll have links to training. That homeowner website is there. Support website is here. My Lutron, links to your My Lutron account, which is required for RadioRA3. And that has more assets for you specific for trained installers. That's where you get the download link for the software and other assets that might be useful for your homeowners. So again, please work with us, work with the Snap team on getting more information, but it's all here, and the website's your starting point. I'll just kind of leave these FAQs here kind of as we dive into some more questions. Just to cover these, to kick it off, no, RadioRA2 is not yet being obsoleted. There's still things like that two processor system that RA2 does today, which provides value with RA2 still. But really everything that you're doing in RA2, you should be able to do in RA3. So really, it's a matter of time. But we want to make sure that for the things that RA2 is still good for, that is still available, and it's not yet being obsoleted. Lutron shades do work with RA3. More or less all of our shades that start with Lutron's battery-powered QS triathlon shades, all the way up to the chain, including the new triathlon wood blinds with automatic natural light optimization that change the tilt of the blinds throughout the day. That all works with RA3 and is a great add-on to every project. The system device count, we covered a total of up to 200 devices, which is 100 of those, call it RA2 type devices you had in the past, which is Maestro, C-Touch, Pico, Shades, and then an additional 100 of the new Sunata. So up to 200 total, depending on how you mix and match. Some of you folks may have seen our luxury lighting control line known as Ketra. That is specific to Homeworks. This is not something that works with RA3. And then I think we touched well on the colors, the new colors that are available. Those are all available across Sunata, as well as the accessories that you would want to pair with them within the home, such as wall plates and 120-volt receptacles. There's even some non-smart, non-system-enabled devices, such as Lutron's tried and true Diva aesthetic, which is an additional dimmer or switch offering that you could put in places throughout the home that are not connected to the system. That all works with the new colors. Maestro and C-Touch have not been added with the new colors yet. What you'll see is that we're going to trim those down to really the most popular colors that are used today. And then we're going to see what happens and where the new colors make sense to add to additional lines at Lutron. So I think we'll dive into questions at this point from the list. Blake, do you want to maybe kick off where we were? I think you're on mute there,
Muted.
Blake. Yep.
Sorry there. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
God, 2 years into this and we're still leaving ourselves muted. Is the RA2 repeater able to work with RadioRA3, or do you need a new RadioRA3 repeater?
Yeah, so the RA2 repeaters, if you're using, the Maestro style or C-Touch style components and you need range extension for that, yes, you would use the RA2 repeater. So no, there is no specific, quote unquote RA3 repeater. As Neil mentioned earlier, you get all of your range through the RA3 processor. And, one of the things that we are, working on that's a high priority is a 2-processor system. So we can extend range that way for the Sunata devices. But again, to extend the range on your Maestro C-Touch style products, yes, you would use the regular RA2 repeater that you've been using, since we launched RA2.
All right. Are you able to import an existing RA2 Select system into RadioRA3?
Yeah, there's no automatic, I'll call it conversion tool for RA2 Select to RadioRA3, but the simplicity of RA2 Select really just means you would start new programming with RA3 that wouldn't have been there in RA2 Select before, since it's really all Pico based. Your keypads would all be new programming, and so it's not that much of a step change to reprogram that system into RA3.
Is inclusive software still relevant, or will it go away?
Yeah, so the inclusive software is still relevant. We are not obsoleting, RadioRA2. So if you would, for whatever the reasons would be in the field that you would need to deploy a RA2 system still, yes, you would need the inclusive software to do that, which as a reminder, we have put learning modules for RA2 now online, much like we have done for RA3. So that is there ready to go. It's self-paced, self-service learning for both RA level 1 and RA2 level 2 training via the LCI.
Can you use a RA2 processor and bridge within RadioRA3?
No, so for that you would still use the RadioRA2 software, which is still available, like Rhett said. So RA2, realize the RA2 processor and Connect bridge are the two things that you do not pull into RadioRA3.
Yep. So those would be replaced with the RA3 processor.
The RA3 processor, that is correct. In that instance, for that question, you would use the RA3 processor.
Yep. So with the new RA3, you are not having to run and touch each device as you're programming the system.
So
Neil, that's another one that's near and dear to your heart. So why don't you take that one?
Yeah, so it's kind of, there's two things here. So the way you set up and activated a RA2 system in the past, the same tools are available for Maestro and C-Touch, Pico, Shades, etc. That experience is the same for activation. The new Sunata devices, which run on our latest and greatest Clear Connect technology that the network builds as you go, that requires you to walk around with the phone, with the app, to physically touch those devices to bring them into the Clear Connect network. So that's why using the app was important, so that you didn't have to pull around with a laptop. Just walk around with your phone.
Great. All right, so when we're upgrading from level 1 RadioRA2, which would be 100 devices, into RA3, will you be able to control 200 devices?
Yeah, so that's another very, very good question. And I'll answer it, but I'm also gonna say, again, make sure you take the training because there's some new rules, right? So I highly encourage everyone in this call, if you're interested in RadioRA3, to get to the LCI and take the learning modules. It does do 200 devices, okay? So the RA3 processor absolutely handles 200 devices, but currently it handles 100 Sunata RF style devices and 100 Maestro, so RA2 style devices, okay? The software won't let you overload the system. There's a device count right in the bottom left-hand corner that shows how many, let's call it the new RF Type X devices, which is the Sunata, and the RadioRA, the Clear Connect Type A devices, which would be the Maestros, the C-Touches, Picos, Shades, okay? So there's a device count, and the software will not let you make a mistake there. That is why we have a high priority on making a 2-processor system, so you can have more than 100 Sunata RF devices on a single RadioRA 3 processor. Okay, but yes, you have 200 total, 100 Sunata style, 100 Maestro style initially. And again, we've heard a lot of feedback from the field, and I'm sure that's where this question is going. Well, what if I want, 200 Sunata RF devices? We hear you loud and clear, and we are working on it. That's an active project. Anything to add to that, Neil?
No, I think that's good.
All right. What will the price point be of the new RA3 adaptive phase dimmers?
Yeah, so the new Sunata dimmers and switches come with a list price of $199 US. That would match the same list price of what our Maestro, our RA2 Maestro Pro dimmers are priced at today. And just to be clear, the dimmer is a phase selectable product, unlike dimmers from the past, which were adaptive. For the past 3 to 5 years, everything's been transitioning to selectable, so you can really fine tune what you want it to do for, really for LEDs, which it's not really that easy to automatically detect what an LED wants.
Yep. All right, just a note for your team, Rhett, that they are looking for a more traditional brown in the satin colors.
Great feedback.
Yeah, I see that. That's good. I just opened up the question and answer here. So need traditional brown. So from a William in the audience, need a traditional brown in the satin colors. Espresso is not a good option. Okay, understood and good feedback.
Great, thank you. Can a processor be mounted in the rack?
So the processor is not rack mountable. What it does have for mounting options are 3 different mounting accessories. There's the shelf mount, which is included in the main kit that we sell with the processor. So quickly place it on a shelf, screw it to a wall. If you want a cleaner installation, we offer a ceiling and wall kit, which includes a flush mount adapter for mounting the processor flush in the ceiling, or also a 4x4 metal junction box mount. So this is a mount that goes on a junction box. So you could hide it in a closet just on a 4x4 box if you want to do it that way. So those are the 3 mounting options.
Great. This is a good question. Is it possible to program a 3-button raise lower Sunata to integrate and control a Sonos zone player?
Absolutely. So the Sonos integration works great with RA3, and the Sunata keypad is a great way to create, let's say, like a play, pause, skip track type of experience, and then use the raise lowers for volume control.
All right. Any option for a flush mount kit for our processor?
Yep, I think that I just mentioned that.
Yep.
So the processor kit, which has the -CW suffix, stands for ceiling and wall mount, has that flush mount for the processor.
All right, I think this was answered as well. Does the new processor only have PoE or still have DC adapter? We have the injector if you don't have it, but other than that, it is PoE only.
Yeah, and just to be clear, because this question comes up a lot, we get it a lot from our own team. So I think that it looks like it was anonymous here. So whoever wrote that question, that is a very good one. The PoE injector absolutely plugs into wherever you have an outlet, right? Just get 120 on it, and then it changes the voltage and so forth to be able to run, on that Cat 5 or better cable. So absolutely an option and a good one.
Great. Will the outdoor plug work with the processor providing true sunrise and sunset scenes? I can answer that one. Yes, it will be integrated as part of the system. and you can use our sunrise and sunset programming to control your outdoor lights.
Correct.
And it changes with the seasons. So that's the true sunrise and sunset, where like depending on the seasons and where you are in the world, it does adapt over the calendar.
Yeah, so it's astronomical, so you don't have to worry about that. You just plug in date, time group, and where you're at on the planet, and the software will do the rest.
All right, just some feedback. Would still like to see a Maestro RA3 or something that would enable color change. Says that's kind of a big deal for their projects, as well as elimination of repeaters because of the enhanced mesh clear connect.
Got it. Yep. Yeah, I think if you want color change, if that's the priority, Maestro's the way to go today, but you would use your repeaters instead of, how Sunata works with the RF network.
Yep. Are there any package deals or upgrade promos to get us started with RadioRA 3?
I'd say stay tuned for that. Obviously getting started is something that, we want to prioritize, whether that's with upgrading a customer or, you as an installer getting familiar with it. So stay tuned. Nothing available right now, but if you know Lutron, that's something we always think about how to do and deliver once we kind of get product out into distribution here and start rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and to dovetail into Neil's statement, yeah, I will tell you, we are actively looking at upgrade promotions for sure. But what we want to do, much like we've done with training, the PoE injector, the app-based startup of Sunata RF devices, we want to simplify that process. For those of you that have done some upgrade promos with RA2, look, like to be able to look myself in the mirror and answer honestly. If I look in the mirror, I would say that was a pretty complex process. So we're looking to take the complication, the complexity out of it, streamline it, and when we're ready with that, I think you'll see some stuff coming out of the factory.
Great. Do you guys want to keep going, Red? I'm not sure that we'll ever hit the bottom of this list of questions. I think they're always going to keep coming. But I just want
to. Yeah, you're right. But I love the engagement. That's primarily why we're doing this.
Very good questions, as always.
Yeah, I mean, we're 10 minutes past, and I don't want to take anybody else's time too, but they're all completely valuable. Guys, Rhett, I can think what you just said, in terms of it being complex, I love that statement because this category is so important. Look at, with our Snap One dealer base, you're talking like 20,000 guys. We have the level of engagement that we want to take this category is endless, like this question pool right now. And that's why we're doing this setup. You've done so much work in relation to what you were saying to set this up, to streamline it. RA3 is a perfect product right now. I do need your time, guys. I need my audience. I need your time. I'm going to take you through this. We're setting this up properly. We have product arriving. We were the first distributor to have a live Q&A and do this session with product arriving on time. We're very conscious of this setup, very passionate about taking this category to the next level. Categorically, what we've done with Snap One, we've made huge leaps and bounds with our audience's help, surveillance and commercial, and that's all of what we're planning on to help your businesses expand. So with lighting, and I'm hearing the questions and stuff, it's a lot of guys come away with like, oh, I know RA2, and I do need your time. I need you to go through this process. Next week, you guys, 31 stores, these reps are going to be live in the store, and we're going to take you through. We're going to continue to engage on this topic wherever I can. Blake, you and I are going to do some more of these because this has been killer, and it's fine. And you're right. I went back and 1,000 people viewed that first RA3 video. I expect that today, and we're going to continue to stay focused on this category. So that being said, I'm not just saying, hey, we're going to pass over the questions. I will tell you this, that my panel, Rhett, Neil, and Blake, we're going to be back in 2 hours. Okay. And we're going to do it again. And we're going to see you guys next week over a 3-day period. Okay. Check your event schedule. Go to snap1webinars.com. On my Friday email with this follow-up email that I'm going to send you guys, I'm going to have full links to get you guys in the stores in front of the reps to answer questions, to continue to talk about and evaluate your jobs that are coming up. That's what's most important at that level of engagement, and hitting it right at the moment, as you guys have done so much hard work for the release of this. I love how you kind of reference Neil as, hey, this is near and dear to your heart. Neil, are you like going into R&D like for the last 6 months going, okay, I have to have this, you know, but it feels like you guys genuinely are the ones who have developed this stuff, you know, and passionately kind of put it on the table for us to enjoy at this moment. But
yeah, I got to tell you, Gary, between, you know, all the excellent feedback that the Snap One organization, your customers have given us, plus as we launch this to our own team and our own reps, we've been listening really hard. And one of the things that we are really committed to doing is making the whole experience with Lutron, from how we train to how we deliver software, how we get products to you, our distribution partner, and then how you get products to your customers. We're looking to streamline all of that. So we're open to, you know, we take nothing personally. We're open to the feedback, the criticism. We want to get better. And I think we've made a lot of strides in a lot of areas, but we certainly have more to do. And that's why we love doing these. We love to hear directly from installers on what they need and where the pain points are. Yep.
Well, I'm going to keep that dialogue open, and that's primarily why I've got this channel to do so. And I'm really glad that we've got that. Thank you guys for being, such a great partner for us, and working with Blake Deal, and he's very conscious of the distribution possibilities and how it continues to develop.
Absolutely.
And that is in direct partnership with our CI channel. Hugely important. Blake, you've done a great job too, guys. Let's come back to this in
Gary.
2 hours.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and everybody on the audience knows we had 100 guys this morning, ladies and gentlemen, and they know how to get in touch with me, and let's continue this dialogue. Next week is super important for everybody. I'm just going to put it out there. There could be some great deals happening over that 3-day period. You know, that's not the biggest incentive. It's a little bit of it. I want to get you into the product. I want to take you and lead you through the modules that have been very well set up. And there's a lot of shade discussion in those, by the way, guys.
Correct.
In those modules.
Yep. So 8 a.m. to noon next week, 25th through the 27th. Check with your local branch to see what the dates are. Strongly suggest you take that training ahead of time. Get qualified, come in so we can actually sit down, talk about a project, and make sure you're successful on your first launch. So we're excited to see you and looking forward to it.
That's right. Okay, guys, Blake, Neil, Rhett, I thank you guys for your time. I'll see you in 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the second of our 2022 weekly webinar series. This is certainly a special one, and being part of this launch that is going to go forward with Lutron and Lutron RA3. Thank you guys so much. Be safe out there. I know it's busy. Let's continue to enjoy this and work our butts off this year. It's going to pay off. All right, guys, I'll see you in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thank you, Gary, and thanks to all the installers that are on the call.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.